We've all done this really at one point, haven't we? We've gone on social media, we've gone on YouTube, and we've looked for our favorite influencers as the people that we tend to look for, and we start copying what they do in hopes that we will one day appear to achieve the things that they have done as well. And I remember doing that at the age of 15. I think that if I didn't do that at the beginning, I probably wouldn't be at the place that I'm at right now because it was the things that got me into strength training alongside working or being at my granddad Steve's gym. But I do think there is a dark side to it that people need to consider. Hello, everyone. This is the MH Performance Podcast. I'm your host, Miles Harrison. And like I've already mentioned today, guys, we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't be copying me or your favorite influencers. Let's get to it. Oh God, I'm never doing that ever again. Anyway, right now, social media is a brilliant and fantastic place for getting ideas. And while I think that yes, there's been a few times where again I've been on social media, I've looked at what other coaches have done, and therefore implemented that into either my own strength work or some of my clients' strength work. I always try to first of all understand these few things before I start implementing it. I try to understand who is he trying to apply that to. Like, is it applying to the people who want to grow muscle? Is it applying for rehab? Is it apply for a specific type of thing? Because if I'm trying to achieve, let's say something like, if I'm trying to achieve a higher jump and I see this very cool exercise and it's nothing to do with that, but it then claims to be something else, then there's something missing in the middle ground. And I think that's really important to understand that you need to understand, first of all, their background, why they're trying to teach it, who they're trying to teach it to, and see how you kind of fit into that. But also, a lot of guys, when it comes to social media, you're going to get a varied of people. You're going to get people who have got qualifications like myself, people who have worked really hard to get to the place that they're at. You're going to get people who are a hell of a lot smarter than I am and have been in the stage for a lot longer. And then you're going to get people that just have good physiques and they train themselves. And because they've got good physiques and they only train themselves, they think they can then coach other people. And it just doesn't work like that, guys. It really, really doesn't. And it's very, very easy for someone who's maybe young, someone maybe in their early 20s, to say, all you need to do is eat this much amount of protein, train as much times a week, and you'll be as good looking as I am. And you gotta remember, oh, I'm gonna stick with the 22-year-old thing. That's all they have. They probably have a lot more time than you do to go and do all the strength training that they want to do. They probably have a lot more time for you to really focus and dial on to their nutrition. And also as well, I think we also fall into the track of that when we look at things like pro athletes. Like if we're looking at, let's say, I remember there was a famous clip of a basketball player called LeBron James doing some really funky deadlifting. And a lot of people used to ask me, it's like, should I really be doing that for athlete development? And you go, no, because the likelihood, the reason why, and I'm not trying to take anything away from LeBron James, like he is a fantastic athlete. I'm not really into basketball myself, but you can just tell that how much he's dominated in the game and the way he appears himself, how much of an athlete. If I look at someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, someone who plays the sport as much closer to my heart, then you can see all the necessary hard work to see where he's at. But I also think you need to consider the general genetics. There are some people and some athletes out there where no matter what they do, they were just made to be the top of their level for that sport. And when we look at through a very window glass of our mobile phones and the things that we've seen them doing some form of training, sometimes that can be really detrimental to our work because we don't have the same considerations, we don't have the same genetics, we don't have the same lifestyles. if you're a kid who's very much in the early stage of development and all that, you probably don't need to do some highly very specific type of work. You need to do general development type of work. You need to get stronger. You need to be able to move better. Looking at what your favorite influencers do and your favorite athletes do, they're at a completely different stage that where you are right now. And then if you go even more into the general population and you got, let's say you're someone who is a mother or father of kids and all that as well, you don't have the lifestyle to recover from the work that they're doing as well. They've got chefs, they've got nutritionists, they've got people constantly looking at loads of variational things. They've got probably about 4 or 5 different devices that they wear that constantly tracks all the things they do. You don't need to be at that level yet because there's other things that you could be working on that could be a bigger priority. I actually had someone coming up to me a couple of days ago asking me about type of shoes for recovery. I think if you look at these shoes called Nike Minds, is that what they're called? Like, there's quite a bit of research that shows into wearing them, it can help with recovery. I'm not particularly in buying in that. I haven't really done my research myself. But for the 99% of people that will look at that, they don't need it because there's other things that they could be doing that would be far, far better. They could improve the level of sleep. They can improve the quantity of sleep. They can improve their nutrition. They can stop smoking on highlighters over the weekend. They can stop drinking over the weekend. There's loads of things that they can potentially do that can improve what their goal is before they start looking at a pair of shoes with some bubbles at the bottom. So you can start getting the ideas now of why I think it's good to look in from an arm's length, all these things like social media, but don't direct copy because the things that I'm doing, the things that these athletes are doing, and I'm not trying to compare myself to these athletes, but we all do things differently and we've all got different lifestyles. And I think that's so important to consider. You need to understand where you are right now to know where you need to go. If you are someone who's got kids, but you still want to play football over the weekends, you can't look at someone who trains 5 times a week and then that's it. Because it's different two lifestyles. They've got different interests. So, just a bit of a side note, my camera died again. Yay! Love when that happens. So, let's get back into what I was saying. Everyone's got different stresses. My stresses will be completely different from yours, and we're all going to have a different capacity of the way we recover from it. And that's going to be based off how much we've been going through those stresses, how much of those stresses are brand new, and how much of them been stressing's been developing over a period of time, whether we've been naturally trying to increase them or had they have been a sudden spike. Life gets unpredictable. And you trying to copy someone else's lifestyle isn't always going to work for you. God, that sounded really deep. I only meant it from a training video, but that was deep. I to be fair, I might just leave that there. Yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it on. But anyway, guys, I hope you take into consideration of the things that I've said in this episode today. I think that if you're someone who's very new, very unsure about the way that fitness training works and the way that you want to achieve your goals, stuff like social media and the internet can be a really cool place to learn from. But you need to also consider the fact that they're not taking it from your side. They're taking it from the person that they're either testing it on or the person that they are living side. So I think if you take that with a pinch of salt and then start digesting it into your own, then maybe some parts of it can work. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to this episode of the MH Performance Podcast. I will make sure to either put my phone, my iMac, on charge, or I just won't let the battery run out. Simple as that. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to this, guys. I'll see you all in the next one.